All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. This is Pantera's special super secret show. Welcome, sailors out there. I just got back from Cosmoverse, had a great conversation with some of the team over at Say. Of course, they are on testnet, hoping to launch very soon TM. We're going to dive into some of those details, and we're going to dive into a very specific project that's launching on the Say network. Very excited to talk to Mr. Kevin Lim, who is the lead over at the Nitro project. Of course, Casa intern here with me as well. Kevin, first and foremost, how are you doing today, sir?
GM, doing great. Happy to be on the show.
Absolutely. Well, we're happy to have you. Say is something that we've sort of just started kind of diving into. I know, as I mentioned earlier, you guys are on testnet, so we're excited to see, the 50 plus projects that have been teased on there. You guys, of course, are an important part of the infrastructure over there. This is the Nitro project, which, as far as I understand, is like a Solana virtual machine rollup. Now, we throw around a lot of Ethereum virtual machine, or EVM for short. Can you explain maybe at a high level what does that mean? What is a virtual machine? What is a rollup? What is the Solana virtual machine?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the simple way to think about what Nitro is it's the first Solana VM in the Cosmos. So it's the same execution environment as Solana or the SVM, and it's being deployed as an optimistic rollup on top of Say. And this effectively connects Solana with Cosmos. Solana developers can easily cross deploy their apps on Nitro and vice versa. Nitro will the objective for Nitro is for Nitro to make SVM an industry standard. So the Nitro team is looking into making SVM into this universal development standard, similar to how EVM is so prevalent today. And the SVM execution environment will allow Solana developers to gain access to the broader IBC ecosystem, which opens up a new door to capital, users, and other synergies. So effectively, this is a gateway between the Solana developers and the Cosmos ecosystem.
I actually want to dig a little bit deeper into the choice of doing Solana a virtual machine because, as you mentioned, the EVM world is kind of very predominant, and everyone's building on an EVM chain basically. So, what's the interest of bringing a Solana portal into a primarily DeFi focused chain that is SIA?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the reason being, the SVM is actually a very high performant execution environment, and as a result of the parallelization that Sealevel provides, it provides an ability for DeFi builders to actually create dApps that are very high performant and very beneficial to end users because what ends up happening is the latency is significantly lower. So end users will actually just see instant finality times with transactions that they participate in within the network.
Now, I saw in the Delphi report that you shared with me secretly. I'm sure that our friends over at Delphi probably don't appreciate you sharing their secret intel for free, but I think they might let this one slide. There was a paragraph in there talking about Nitro and how there's been a little bit of confusion. Now, does this settle on the Solana network? Is this a layer 2 on Solana, or is this a layer 2 built on top of Say? Can you give us clarification on that?
Yeah, of course. The best way to think about how Nitro works is it's like Arbitrum, but rather than using EVM, it uses SVM. And rather than settling to Ethereum, it settles to Say. So the settlement is back to Say, not Solana.
Okay, so that's actually really interesting to me. I know that Solana is predominantly an NFT based chain. Like, what kind of projects are you guys thinking you're going to be coming over and actually deploying using your guys' SVM?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's actually this is a permissionless network, and so we envision that there will be DeFi, there will be NFTs, there will be games that come and build on Nitro as well. That being said, there's been significant interest from Solana DeFi builders as a result of actually building on top of Say, and the kind of the long term benefit to actually potentially deploying on Nitro, and then kind of seeing if the Cosmos is the right place for them to deploy multi-chain.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good segue too into something I wanted to talk about, which is, um, SVM. This is sort of a newer concept, or at least we're coining this new term here, or Kevin, you've kind of led the charge on that front. What is it about Say that kind of makes you guys want to create the first SVM rollup on Say? Like, why choose Say over all the other
Yeah, so
infinitum options out there?
So the Nitro team, evaluated various different L1s that we could deploy on, right? However, I think the reason that we decided to build this first version of what we're building on, say, is the fact that DeFi within the Cosmos is set to explode. So, a couple months ago, we saw that DYDX is going to deploy their next version as an app-specific chain within the Cosmos ecosystem. And then you have other major projects like Near and OKX that are enabling IBC, right? Effectively joining the Cosmos ecosystem. So, with more than 50 live zones within the Cosmos ecosystem and over 100 million in monthly IBC volume, it seemed like a natural environment for Nitro to come out and to build on top of Say, since a lot of the projects that we've talked to that are keen on plug and play and moving over into the ecosystem were actually Solana DeFi projects, right? So it makes a lot of sense for them to get their foot in the door through Nitro, where they can easily deploy, since it's the same execution environment, have access to this liquidity that is potentially coming in from other DeFi projects that have decided to come and build. And then if they really have this strong blend of a community between those that are coming with them within the Solana ecosystem, and then those that learn about them as they enter the Cosmos ecosystem, it makes natural sense for them to potentially consider building on Say, because it's this use case specific blockchain that is optimized for trading. So the chain itself being the fastest chain to finality, having modules that are built in to benefit DEX builders, seems like a natural progression after deploying and creating a community within the Cosmos ecosystem.
Kind of want to add in. I just thought of this question. I know that there's a lot of hubbub about building and just developing on SIA, like throughout the testnet experience. And I know they were giving out a huge token allocation. I think 1% of the token supply is going to people participating in testnet. Have you guys been participating in testnet, and what kind of things have you guys noticed, and what's going on over there in that entire development environment?
Yeah, so we've been entirely focused on building out our version 1, so our own testnet and our own once again environment for builders. So we haven't participated within validating on the Say testnet. However, we're very impressed with the improvements, the technical improvements that the Say team has made, as far as improving the consensus mechanism, and then also having the fastest finality within all blockchains. So it's very impressive, and also getting feedback from a lot of the Solana teams that are considering deploying on Nitro. They're really impressed with how that can benefit them, right? Because having those very fast block times is very beneficial for a lot of different actors within DeFi, right? Particularly market makers that are constantly having to update what their prices are for the markets that they make. And that is very appealing, right? Because the more liquidity some of these dApps have, the easier it is for them to attract users. And those users are really what matters within DeFi and within crypto.
Now, you talked a little bit about some of the projects that you said find it appealing. Can you leak any alpha on maybe some of the projects or smart contracts from Solana that we might see actually use this?
Yeah, I can't share with you specifically any teams that are interested in deploying on Nitro, but I think that you will see a lot of the building blocks of a DeFi economy that come onto Nitro initially. So think lending, borrowing, AMMs, exchanges are definitely very interested in the opportunity, as this is the first chance for them to meet the Cosmos ecosystem and meet Cosmos community members. So they're very excited about that opportunity. There are also various other crypto projects that see a lot of benefits in being one of the first projects to deploy in the first new SVM environment, right? We are actually the first SVM chain as well. So this is the first opportunity for these Solana developers to actually be able to deploy multi-chain.
Yeah, so I think people might be able to make some inferences there based on the categories that you listed there of people that are interested from Solana. I want to switch gears a little bit here and just talk about the end user. Can you break down how SVM impacts the end user's experience? Is it very similar to using like a Polygon or an Arbitrum, as you mentioned earlier?
Yes. So from an end user perspective, there should be very little. If they're already in crypto, there should be very little that they would need to kind of learn. Like they would basically have to learn nothing new to use Nitro, right? The whole thing with SVM is what it does is it allows developers to like run with parallelization, right? And for end users, what this really means is that they're just going to have near instant confirmation times, which is very beneficial if they're coming from EVM, or if they've ever had challenges with their tickets not going through. But for the end state here is for crypto in general is that end users really won't even need to know what language a dApp is built in. They'll just be able to execute whatever they want on chain, right? And we believe that one of those languages, one of those universal development standards will be SVM. And I think like an analogy to think about here is people don't know what Amazon is coded in. They don't know what Google is coded in. And for crypto to gain that mass adoption, what matters is that, you have great developers that build great products that people want to use. And Nitro is really an extension of that, right? It's just an opportunity for these developers to have a place where they can highlight their talents and to attract users to their dApps.
Excellent. Casa, anything else from you, sir?
No, I'm just actually really excited to hear and see all the developments that happen from Solana building, because I know that there's like a huge narrative going on right now about NFT scene really kind of taking off in Solana. A lot of talks about it kind of competing with the like Ethereum monthly volumes of transactions. You can see like Ethereum's on a downtrend, but Solana's actually on an uptrend. So there is kind of like this hype and stuff going on with Solana. So it's really interesting to just be hearing about like this overall development in this direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a motivating factor to the creation of Nitro. Is just the fact that the Solana development community is so strong, and also uh, I think it's a blend in like what Nitro does as the first SVM on Cosmos is bring together historically two of the strongest communities in crypto. You've got the Cosmos community that has been around since 2014, and then you have this thriving Solana developer community. And so putting them together when previously they've philosophically been on opposite sides of the blockchain trilemma is very exciting. We're looking forward to the creation of new teams that come in from like that combine or merge between the Cosmos community and the Solana community and are interested in building things on Nitro. So that's really where the opportunity lies. It's in empowering the community and then spreading Solana Virtual Machine as a universal development standard.
Quick question. This one's a little bit nerdy. And it's kind of out of the flow of the rest of the questions, but I do want to know. I know that you mentioned cross-chain execution for projects that are going to be coming over from Solana. Are you going to be implementing any sort of infrastructure that lets them use the Axelar API, where they can literally execute throughout all the different blockchains?
Yeah, so we certainly envision ways that there could be cross chain or general purpose messaging integration. Not promising that that's something that we're thinking about like short term, medium term, but yes, there is definitely a possibility that there is ability to do cross chain communication, right? And
Mhm.
with Nitro, will be IBC enabled at the start through Say. But we're also thinking about ways that we can connect Nitro to Solana, and make sure that we can actually connect a lot of that liquidity, right? Connect liquidity, connect users, and create easy flows for people to get involved.
Now, Kevin, what's your background? Do you come from the Solana ecosystem? Is that why you chose to kind of like build this SVM thing?
Yeah, no. So I would say my background is actually more within the Terra ecosystem, but I think my class of crypto, full-time crypto workers, we really got into the space through kind of a lot of the alternate chains, right? So Solana, Avalanche, and Terra. So there's a ton of crossover between, I would say, developers and builders in the space that were introduced to crypto through that kind of that period of time. So that's where I like kind of connected with a lot of Solana teams, and really was impressed by the strength of their teams, their visions, and that's where I got to really thinking about how Nitro and SVM could really solve a problem that the community was having.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like it's a win-win for everybody. A lot of the Solana developers will have access to the Cosmos ecosystem, and say I know that one of their early challenges is going to be liquidity on that network. So it sounds like a beautiful marriage, and it seems like there's some people chomping at the bit in order to actually use Nitro. So we'd be remiss not to ask when, as our final question to you, Kev. When can we expect this?
Yeah, so I think that I can't give you guys a set date, but I'll say that development is going very well, and I think you can expect to actually be able to use this in the next few months.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us to wrap up this week's episode of whatever we call this show. We actually don't even have a name for it. Sailors out there should be very excited for Nitro. Ahoy there, sailors. Kevin, again, thanks. Joseph, thanks for joining me in this last session. Everybody, we'll see you again next week.